Okay, good evening, everyone. Sorry for the slight delay. I was facing technical issues. Can you please tell me on chat if you can hear me and see me all right? Okay, I'm just going to wait for some feedback on YouTube to come through, and then we'll get started. Just let me know if the AV is clear. Oh, fantastic. Thank you, Ramesh, Jitu, Mahesh. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for confirming. Shreyarsha, good evening. Great. So now since the AV is clear, we'll get started. Again, sorry for the slight delay. I was facing some technical issues. Okay, so folks, let's get started without any further ado. Welcome to this session. This session is going to be about effective reading. Okay, obviously it's brought to you by 2IM. You know which channel you're on. And today what I'm going to discuss is effective reading strategies. Okay, so it's a very important topic as far as VARC is concerned, right? I'll give you more context. Of course, I'll introduce the topic to you. For some of you, this topic might be a little new because unfortunately, there's not a lot of discussion around this in the CAT world, right? Which I think is unfortunate because it's a very critical topic, right? And hopefully by the end of the session, you'll understand why it's so important to discuss and learn about effective reading strategies and also implement them. Okay, all right, great. So before I forget to introduce myself, my name is Jatin. I'm the head of verbal ability and reading comprehension at 2IM CAT preparation. So I've been associated with 2IM for over 2 years now. And in my previous life, before 2IM, I used to be in the corporate world. I have about 18 plus years of experience in the corporate world, out of which about 12 plus years of experience is from Google. My job before 2IM was with Google in different roles in different teams. I made a big career switch in July 2020, and I switched to teaching because that's my passion. I always wanted to, teach in my life full time. So I got that opportunity and I made the big career switch. So there are two things that I'm very passionate about. I'm very passionate about teaching and I'm very passionate about the English language. And that's the reason I'm the head of VARC at 2IM. All right. Okay, fantastic. So welcome everyone. Great to have you here. Now, as I said, the topic for today is effective reading. Okay. So what I'm going to discuss with you is I have a few effective reading strategies that I'll discuss with you. First, of course, introduce the topic, discuss those strategies. And then most importantly, what we'll do is I have 2 to 3 articles that we'll read together and discuss them. So after learning about the effective reading strategies, we'll implement those strategies together via those articles and read and discuss them together. Okay, so it promises to be a good session. Hopefully you'll find it useful. And hopefully you'll also be convinced that effective reading is very important as far as CAT VARC is concerned. All right. Okay. So let me start my presentation and we'll get started. All right. Now the presentation may seem a little awkward to you because of the camera placement. I apologize for that, though that's the technical issue that I was talking about. We'll just have to live with it today. But hopefully it shouldn't create too much of an issue, the camera placement. Okay. All right. So before we begin, just a quick note, we have a Labor Day super sale going on at 2IM on all CAT 23 and 24 full courses. Okay. So this is valid till 1st of May. If you're a 23 CAT 23 or CAT 24 aspirant and you're looking for courses, definitely give us a call. The number is mentioned there, or you can email us at info@2im.com and you can avail the 6,000 off discount till 1st of May. Okay, so yeah, definitely give us a call. You can get a free demo session, attend our classes. You can sample our content by signing up as a free user on our website. There are multiple options. So reach out and speak to our academic advisors. Okay, all right, perfect. Let's proceed. Now, of course, this is the topic, how to read effectively. Now, first of all, before I go into effective reading strategies, let's talk about the secret to VARC. Okay. Now, is there a secret to cracking VARC? Let's talk about that. Now, the answer to that is an unfortunate no. Now, I don't know whether it's unfortunate or fortunate, but there is absolutely no secret to VARC. Just like there is no secret to cracking CAT, right? CAT is known to be one of the most challenging exams in the world. Now, if there was a secret, if there was a code, or if there was a hack, or if there was a shortcut to crack CAT, it wouldn't have been one of the challenging exams in the world. Okay, so that's what you need to understand. So don't fall for shortcuts or hacks, right? Unfortunately, we have a bit of that in the CAT market. Don't fall for them. Okay, so unfortunately or fortunately, there is no secret. There is no spell. If you're a Harry Potter fan, there is no shortcut. The only thing that will get you through to VRC and that will help you to score a high percentile in VRC is reading. Okay, and this is not breaking news, right? I'm sure you knew this already. Most of you, I'm sure, know that reading is the crux of the VRC section. So absolutely no breaking news there. This is the most obvious thing. If you want to succeed in the VRC section, if you want to be a 95 plus, a 98 plus, a 99 plus percentile in VRC, you will have to start reading. Okay, and that's the crux of it. So this is just a joke, right? The whole point is to fall in love with reading. See, we are currently in April. Your exam is in November if you're a 23 aspirant. To succeed in VRC, you have to consistently read. And you can only make that habit sustainable if you fall in love with reading. If you're going to approach this like a chore, like a task, then it won't be sustainable, right? Like, I mean, Rajesh, who's a CEO and also he also teaches quant at 2IIM, right? Rajesh also always says this: CAT is a marathon, it's not a sprint. So if you want to succeed in this marathon, in this VRC marathon, you have to develop a consistent and sustainable habit, and you have to fall in love with reading. All right? Okay. Now, you know you're supposed to read. Okay, by now, I'm sure many of you, most of you know that you're supposed to read for VRC. Okay, it's as I said, it's not breaking news. You probably know what to read as well. Okay, different sources. Now, there are many sources that you can read, right? Bharat's reading list, I'm sure many of you would have heard about this. If you haven't heard about this, check it out. Google Bharat's reading list. It's a offering by 2IIM, a free offering by 2IIM, where we post articles, okay, very high quality CAT level articles every day of the week. So you get 5 high quality articles throughout the week. And we also post some questions on our Instagram story based on those articles. So you can use that as a source for your reading. You can use newspapers, you can use magazines, you can use non-fiction books, fiction, a lot of different sources. And I'm sure you're aware of that. Okay, you're aware of those sources, what to read. You probably know how much to read as well. Okay, the recommendation that I often give to my students is that 1 hour per day of leisure reading is very important for CAT. That should be your target. Of course, you don't have to start with 1 hour. You can start with 15 minutes, gradually go to 30 minutes, 45, but soon come to 1 hour per day of leisure reading. This is stress-free, laid-back reading for enjoyment. Okay, so I'm sure you have those guidelines in mind as well. These are popular things that are spoken about by all VRC teachers in the CAT world. But the question is, do you know how to read? Now, this is a very weird question. Okay, you're probably thinking that Jatin's gone crazy because obviously you know how to read. You've been reading since school, right? So you know how to read. But the question is not whether you know how to read. The question is, do you know how to read effectively? And that's very important. Because I'll tell you why this is important. The reading habits that many of us pick from our education system are actually quite harmful for CAT. They don't work for CAT. Now, many of us were in school, right? And I'm sure you agree. Of course, I did school like 20 years ago, so completely much older to you folks. But I'm sure in school, you did a lot of mugging up, or you did a lot of cramming, or as in Hindi we say ratta marna, right? You must have done a lot of that. Now, because of that, we inculcate these bad reading habits that accumulate over the years. And that doesn't help in CAT. Okay, in CAT, the approach to reading has to be very effective. There are certain approach that you need to follow if you want to succeed in cracking these CAT RCs and other questions. So that is what I call effective reading. And of course, I'll talk about these effective reading strategies, right? So remember this, for many of you, you'll probably have to do a lot of unlearning because you've accumulated these reading habits over the years. So some of this might seem a little strange to you and it will take some time to unlearn. But believe me, this is tried and tested. If you unlearn and learn these effective reading strategies, it will make a marked difference in your RC scores. Okay, so stay with me. Let's talk about those effective reading strategies. By the way, I want this session to be very, very interactive. That's who I am as a teacher, and I'm students who are logging in probably know this already. In class, I literally force my students to interact with me, because I firmly believe that that's the way you learn. And there is this science of teaching behind this. I'm not inventing this. It's proved that the more interactive a student is in class, the more they learn. And it's good for me as well, because it gives me a lot of energy. So definitely ask questions. If you don't understand something, put them in chat. And I have my chat open on my second monitor. That's why I keep looking here. No other reason. So I'll keep answering your questions every now and then. Okay, so definitely interact with me and ask as many questions as you want. All right, so let's now get to it, get to business and talk about effective reading. Now, before that, speed reading. Now, in chat, you can tell me there's a bit of lag on chat, so I won't wait. But how many of you have heard about speed reading? Tell me in chat. A couple of years ago, or a few years ago, this was a big fad on the internet. Okay, there was a lot of chatter about speed reading. There were courses about speed reading, right? Like people used to claim that, oh, join my course and I'll take your reading speed from 250 words to 900 words per minute. Okay, have you heard about this? Have you heard about speed reading? Tell me in chat. Okay, so Shabduli says yes, right? What about others? I'm sure many others must have heard about this as well. Now, Anubhav says yes. Now, folks, remember, the speed reading is a scam. I hate to break this to you. Okay, it's a complete scam. Please don't fall for speed reading as far as SCAT and your other exams are concerned. You'll end up doing a lot of harm. Skimming, Mahesh, thank you for pointing that out. Folks, don't go for these techniques. Speed reading, skimming, they will cause a lot of damage, and they will end up bringing your percentile and score in VRC to a significantly low level. So don't fall for this scam. It doesn't work for CAT. In general, also stay away from speed reading. It's BS. Okay, so big no to speed reading, a big yes to effective reading. And effective reading is very different from speed reading. There is no comparison, and you'll see how. Okay, but I just wanted to sort of reiterate this very, very assertively. Please stay away from speed reading. Okay, and embrace effective reading. Okay, so yeah, let's move on. So now, before I go to effective reading strategies, the first thing that you need to remember about reading is that reading without comprehension is utterly useless. And this might sound like an obvious point to you. Okay, why are you reading? You're reading because you want to understand what the author is saying. You want to comprehend what the author is saying. So if you're not comprehending, then you're not reading. It's as simple as that. And that's why speed reading doesn't work. Because what do you do in speed reading? You're just skimming through the article. And then in the end, if I ask you, okay, what was the article's main idea, or what was the author talking about, you'll probably be clueless. Doesn't make sense. So what I'm trying to say here is, please focus on comprehension. Okay, I know a lot of you are worried about speed. Okay, because you're like, oh, this exam is like 40 minutes in VRC or 1 hour in VRC, and I have to solve 4 passages or 5 passages. How am I going to do this if my speed is not great? That's a valid question. But you have to remember one thing: you can't force speed. Okay, 1 second. Great. You can't force it. You just can't force speed. So speed has to improve naturally. So what you need to do, especially in your initial or medium stages of preparation, please focus on comprehension. Your singular objective while reading should be comprehension. And if you read effectively, if you follow the strategies that I talk about, your speed will organically improve in the background. But you cannot force speed. Okay, so the whole idea here is, please focus on comprehension. Let speed improve in the background. You have to read consistently, you have to read effectively, and your speed will definitely improve. All right, okay, let's move on. Now there's a question there, Jitu, let me just read that question. This is a silly question. Okay, there's never a silly question, number one. But which is the editorial section in the newspaper? I'm using an e-copy but not able to find it. Okay, how do I tell you this? So an editor, for instance, if you go to Times of India, okay, I think Times of India's editorial will probably say from the editor's desk or editorial, or what you can do, Jitu, is you can Google Times of India editorial or Hindu editorial or Indian Express editorial. It will take you to the editorial pages. Okay, so once you're able to spot it, then you'll be able to spot it in your e-copy as well. So editorial is nothing but from the editor's desk. It's editor's sort of opinion on a certain sort of current affairs topic. Okay, so yeah, go for it. Just Google it and you'll be able to spot that. Okay, fantastic. Okay, Saksham wants me to recap the first 10 minutes. Saksham, in the interest of time, I won't be able to do that, but you can always go back. After the session, go back. Okay, it was just purely introduction. Go back and you'll be able to sort of go through it. And I believe you're a 2IIM student. Okay, so you can always get in touch with me. I'm happy to sort of take you through it later. Okay, fantastic. Let's move on. Let's talk about effective reading. Okay. Number one. Now, the first effective reading strategy that I can share with you is be an active and aggressive reader. Now, in the when I sort of discuss this topic in detail, there are 8 effective reading strategies. Okay, of course, in the interest of time, I can't discuss all 8 of them here, but I'm discussing the 2 main ones. Okay, but in all there are 8. So if you look at the 2IIM course, we have VARC basics, and it covers those 8. In the interest of time, I can't cover it, but I'm covering the 2 main ones, so it will definitely help you. Now, be an active and aggressive reader. Okay, now this is the first one. What does this mean? There are 3 things I want you to keep in mind. Okay, number one second, I'm not able to see my marker. Okay. Number one, check your pose. Okay, and this may seem a little funny. Now, when you're reading for CAT, when you're reading for your exam, now what does that mean? If you're practicing an RC, or if you're giving a mock, okay, or if you're giving a sectional mock or practicing any question, whenever you're reading for the exam, when you're practicing an RC passage, be very active and aggressive about it, and it makes a difference. So what does that mean? Sit in a very straight and alert pose. Okay, be very, very active. Okay, you cannot expect to excel in a CAT's RC if you're reclining on bed and trying to solve the RC on phone. Try that, by the way. Okay, when you're solving your next CAT RC from a past paper or any practice one, try that. Okay, recline on your bed, aram se, and try to solve it. You'll unfortunately fail, because the concentration that an RC demands, a CAT RC demands, needs you to be active and aggressive. So check your pose, be straight, sit on a table, be very, very alert, and solve each RC as if you're sitting in the exam. Okay, so that's one. Number 2 is, I'll give you an affirmation. Now, again, it'll sound funny. It'll seem like some philosophical crap that I'm talking about, but this works. Again, this is science of reading. I haven't invented this. Okay. Now, what is the affirmation that you need to tell yourself? Now, often CAT RC topics can be quite dry. Okay. For instance, philosophy. Most of you, I'm sure, don't like philosophy. I personally don't like philosophy as well. Okay. But now CAT doesn't care whether you like philosophy or not. Invariably, you might see a philosophy passage in the exam. Every year, there's at least one in the exam. So CAT topics can be quite dry and uninteresting. And CAT doesn't care whether you find that topic interesting or not. So what you have to tell yourself is, in spite of the content, I'll read this with a lot of energy, enthusiasm, and interest. Say this to yourself. And say this to yourself aloud. Okay? This sends a very strong signal to your brain, and it just makes you more active and aggressive while reading. Okay, so remember that. Say this affirmation. In spite of the content, I'll read this with a lot of energy, interest, and enthusiasm, and say this aloud. It will work even better. And finally, number 3, be very, very second. I've chosen a great background because I'm not able. Oh, let me change my pen color. Hold on. Okay, no. Okay. Yeah, I think I can see it now. Pen color didn't really change. Okay, number 3 is your comprehension. Okay, so be very aggressive about comprehension. Of course, not physically aggressive. What this means is be very mentally aggressive. Okay, Read it with complete concentration. Immerse yourself in what you're reading, and don't let anything break your momentum. Okay, nothing should break your momentum while you are solving a CAT RC, whether you're practicing, giving a mock, or the real exam. Okay, so be very aggressive about concentration and comprehension. Immerse yourself completely in the article, in the RC. Okay, so 3 things. 1 is pause, sit straight, be alert. 2nd, the affirmation, tell yourself in spite of the topic, you'll read it with a lot of energy, interest, and enthusiasm. 3rd is be very, very aggressive about concentration and comprehension. Okay, we'll try this today and you can let me know whether it works or not. All right, okay, let's go to the 2nd one. Now, this is the holy grail of effective reading strategies. Okay, this is the most important one. Now, please focus. If you haven't been focusing, please focus now, because this is the crux of this session. Now, your job as a reader is to find the main idea. Now, in chat, tell me, how many of you think that when you're reading a CAT RC, your job is to understand each and every word? Tell me in chat. I'll repeat my question again because there's a lag, obviously. How many of you think that when you're reading a CAT RC, your job is to understand each and every word of that 500 word, 600 word RC that's been given to you? Anybody who thinks that? Yeah, this lag is the most annoying thing on YouTube, but let me know. I'm getting some answers. Okay, Shabduli says, no, it's not. What about others? Anybody who thinks that you have to understand each and every word, or you have to understand at least 90% of the words or sentences in the passage? Great. So Vaibhav says no, Sanskriti says no. Oh, Sanskriti, great to see you here. Okay, so absolutely not. I'm glad that else we won't complete the exam. Correct. Absolutely correct. Okay. Oh, great to see Akshat as well. Okay, so your job is not to understand each and every word. Your job as a reader is to find the main idea. Now, what does that mean? Okay, you have to extract the essence of the RC that you're reading. There'll be a lot of unfamiliar words and sentences. Now, it's quite possible that you get a very complex RC in the exam and you don't understand 50% of it. Of course, I'm giving you like an extreme scenario, but it happens. You don't understand half of it because the language is so complex. Is it still possible to extract the main idea? Yes, it is. And there are many examples. Okay, so remember, your job is to get in the article or the RC, get the main idea, get out. That's it. Your job is not to understand each and every word. Don't get stuck on words, sentences, and details. That's the worst thing that you can do as a reader, and I'll demonstrate that in the article. See, words can be quite evil, and it's funny that a VRC teacher is saying this, but it is true. 1 second. Okay. Words can be quite evil. And it's funny coming from an English teacher, but it's true. Because if you fixate on words, let's say, for instance, you have a word called as antagonistic. Now you get this word, or narcissist. Okay, any sort of vocabulary big word. Now, if you get stuck on this word and try to understand the meaning of each and every word, you lose the big picture. So don't do that. Don't get stuck on words, sentences, and details, because remember, your job is to find the main idea. Try to understand words from context, surrounding words and sentences. I'll demonstrate that. As long as you're getting a hang of the main idea, the author's main idea, keep moving along. Keep reading. Don't skip any words. Read each and every word, but don't get stuck on them. If you're getting the hang of the main idea, keep moving on. And this will become more clear when I demonstrate this with an article. At the end of the RC or the article, if you're able to give me the main idea correctly, then your job is done. All right? Okay. So remember that this is very, very important, and I'll demonstrate that in the article. So 2 things I've told you, 2 strategies: active and aggressive reading, okay, which is pause, affirmation, comprehension. Second is focus on the main idea. Don't get stuck on words, details, and sentences. All right. I want you to practice this now in the next article that I'll show you. All right. Okay, fantastic. Just give me 1 second. I'll send you the link of the article and then we will get started. Okay, I've sent the link on chat, folks. Please click on that and open the document. Let me know if you're able to access that document. Okay, I can see some viewers there, so I'm guessing it's accessible. Is the document accessible? Can you please let me know on chat? Okay, fantastic. I see some viewers there. All right. Okay, I'll come down to vocabulary later. Okay, hold on, folks. Just one quick note about vocabulary. Okay, and then we'll start reading. So vocabulary, or actually, you know what, scratch this. Let's discuss this at the end. I don't think it's important from a reading perspective. We'll come down to vocabulary. All right. Now, you've seen the articles. Please read article 1. Okay, just only one. There are only 2 paragraphs. Okay, I want you to read that article. And once you're done, I want you to send the main idea in chat in a couple of sentences. Okay, so just do this on your own and remember the 2 effective reading strategies. Be active and aggressive and focus on the main idea. And once you're done reading article 1, send the main idea in your own words in a couple of sentences on chat. And then I'll discuss it. Okay, go for it, folks. If you want, you can read it from the screen. There's 2 paragraphs or from the document. Great. Thank you, Anubhav, for confirming. Oh, someone likes the new, Hitesh likes the new template and colors. Thank you. Thank you. I'm not a big fan of this color personally, but I got this suggestion from a teammate, so I'm glad you like it. Okay, folks, so take your time. There is no rush at all. Please don't, as I said, speed is not what we're looking at. Focus on comprehension. But once you're done, send the main idea in chat in a couple of sentences, not a couple of words, at least 2 sentences. Okay. Okay, wonderful. I'm getting a couple of main ideas. I'll wait for a few more and then we'll start discussing. Okay. Okay, more main ideas. Very good. Nice. I have one from Sanskriti. I'm really glad to see Sanskriti participating. Very nice. Okay. Let's have some more main ideas. People, please participate because this is important. I know sometimes it can be a little taxing to sort of write sentences and all of that, right? but it's important. If you are able to develop this skill of extracting the main idea, I guarantee you that your scores on RC will significantly improve. Okay. All right. Fantastic. Great. So I've got a few main ideas. Let's start discussing. Okay. So Abhishek says it's about misanthropic humanity. Very nice word, Abhishek. Misanthropic. Misanthropic means a misanthropist is somebody who hates humanity. Okay, a person, if you call somebody a misanthrope, or you say that this person has misanthropic tendencies, a misanthrope hates mankind, right? So obviously a horrible kind of human that just hates mankind in general. So Abhishek says it's about misanthropic humanity. Abhishek, you're being very, very sort of succinct. Try to elaborate at least in a couple of sentences. Okay. Shabduli says the main idea of the paragraph is description of Kirsch about human race and how AI will help in the replacement of humans in the future. Okay, let's see, Shabduli, if you and me are on the same page. We'll discuss it. Sanskriti says paras about the survival of human race and their importance. It talks about two human races. Both agree that humans aren't essentially important, but their views are. Interesting. Interesting. Very nice. Okay. Let's discuss it. So folks, what we're going to do is, you've read the article, you've extracted the main idea. Sanskriti, thank you. It's making me nostalgic. Sanskriti was a student. She was a 22 student and she's headed to a very good B school as well. But she's here. Good to see you, Sanskriti. I'm happy to see that. Okay. Anyway, let's. I'm getting nostalgic, but let's come back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the article now. It's very important for you to focus on this and to see how I read and how I implement the effective reading strategies. And then I'll give you the main idea. As long as you are on the same page with me, you're fine. The words don't have to match. We just have to be on the same page. But see how I implement the effective reading strategies. The first one is active and aggressive reading. Okay. So I'm going to check my post. I'm going to be really active, sit straight, be alert. All right. I'm going to tell myself that in spite of the topic, I will read it with a lot of interest, energy, and curiosity. And third, I'm going to be very aggressive about comprehension, immerse myself completely and not let anything come in the way of my reading. Second, I'll focus on the main idea. I won't get stuck on words. I'll keep focusing on the main idea. Let's read this. Okay. What does it say? It's not so difficult really to imagine a world without us, says Adam Kirsch, who has authored The Revolt Against Humanity, Imagining a Future Without Us. It's a very powerful statement to begin with, right? It's not so difficult really to imagine a world without us. Quite a morbid statement. Okay. And by the way, keep talking to yourself. When you're reading, keep talking to yourself. Okay. There is one group that views humanity's presence on Earth as being irredeemably destructive. Members of this group could be called Anthropocene anti-humanist, offers Kirsch. Now, very complicated word, Anthropocene anti-humanist. Now, you might not know what this means, but don't get stuck. Try to understand from context. And if you have a hang on the main idea, keep moving on. Don't get stuck. Okay. So what have we spoken about so far? It says that's not so difficult to imagine a world without us. And it's talking about one group which views humanity's presence as being destructive. This group thinks that humanity's presence on Earth is very, very destructive. Okay. And the members of this group could be called as Anthropocene anti-humanist, anti-human. This would mean we look forward to a planet without people as the ultimate humane ambition. Okay. So now what does this group? So one group says it's okay. The human presence on Earth is very destructive. It's okay if we don't have humans on Earth. That's what it's saying, isn't it? Okay. Let's move on. Then there is a other group, we could call them transhumanists, who view the loss of a conscious mind, meaning the human mind, as a disaster. Now, this group views the loss of the conscious mind, the human mind, as a disaster. If we lose our mind, if we lose our intelligence, it's a disaster according to them. But transhumanists also feel that you don't really need humans to ensure the survival of the conscious mind. We could replace ourselves with a more advanced kind of intelligence via artificial intelligence technology that would necessarily disembodied, virtual, and perhaps far more superior. So let's talk about the second group. The second group that we are calling transhumanists, they think that the conscious mind is very important. They view that if the conscious mind goes away, it will be a complete disaster. But then again, transhumanists also feel that we don't need humans to ensure the survival of the conscious mind, because humans can be replaced with AI. And that's what's happening today. So AI will have a conscious mind, they'll move on. So this group also thinks that humans are not required. Okay? All right. Now, you've read one paragraph. What I always say is, when you're attacking a RC, pause after every paragraph and extract the main point of this paragraph. Okay? Do this for every paragraph. For longer paragraphs, you can do this multiple times. So pause after this paragraph and ask yourself, what is the main point of this paragraph? Now, according to me, the main point of this paragraph is that the author is saying that there can be a world without us. It's possible. So humans are indispensable. That's what author is saying. And then it talks about two groups. One group is anti-humanists, who say that, okay, our presence is very destructive, therefore we don't need humans. Second is transhumanists, who says the conscious mind is very important, but we don't need humans for that because AIs can replace us. That's the main point. Do you agree? Tell me in chat. Till I get feedback, I'll write it down. Okay. So pause after the paragraph and extract the main point. You can extract the main point mentally, or you can even take a written note. Okay, so let me take a written note here. Okay. I will say world without us is possible. My writing is horrible, so pardon that. There are two groups here. There is the anti-humanists, okay, who believe that humans cause destruction, okay, and then there is the transhumanists who talk about conscious mind and how AI can replace. Sorry about the writing. It's horrible. I know that. Okay. So what I'm trying to demonstrate here is you can take a written note. A lot of students benefit from taking written notes. It helps their comprehension. Okay. So take a written note. You don't have to write sentences. The main point here is world without us is possible. Two groups, anti-humanists who believe that humans are destructive, transhumanists who talk about the importance of conscious mind, but say that AI can take over and we don't need humans. So essentially, both the groups are saying that we don't need humans, isn't it? All right. Let me know if you agree with the main point. I'll continue. Let's go to the second paragraph. Now, although Anthropocene, anti-humanists, and transhumanists see technology, science, and environment through different lenses, they both do believe that there's nothing essential about the existence of Homo sapiens. We figured that out. Okay, we figured that out. So Kirsch says that the idea that one day humanity will disappear, Kirsch says that the idea that one day humanity will disappear is part of every religious system, an end of the world scenario through God's will, or simply via the natural cosmic cycle. So what is the second paragraph talking about? The second paragraph says that both the groups, okay, are looking at it through different lenses, but both believe that there's nothing essential about our existence. And there's also the point about how every religion says that one day the world will end. Isn't it? Okay, so that's the main point of the second paragraph. You can note it down. Now you've read both the paragraphs. Now extract the main idea. What do you think is the main idea? See, the most important part in this article or excerpt of the article is that it is possible to have a world without humans. Point number one. Two views. Anti-humanists who think that we are very destructive and the world can do away with us. Transhumanists who think that conscious mind is important, but AI can take over. So both are looking at it through different lenses, but both believe that human presence in the world is not required. That's the main idea of this article. So if your main idea, okay, that you sent included the part that there can be a world without humans and the two views, then your main idea is correct. We're on the same page. Is this clear, folks? Tell me in chat. I'll wait for some feedback. Is this making sense? All right. Okay. Thanks, Abduli. What about others? Is this making sense? Fantastic. All right. So as you can see, right, you folks gave me different main ideas. You folks were on the same track. Some of you were being too broad. Okay. But it's important to strike that balance between being too broad and too specific. And this will only happen when you keep practicing. All right. So what have we learned? We've learned how to implement 2 effective reading strategies. Okay. And we've also learned that you should keep talking to yourself when you're solving an RC. Definitely pause after every para, extract the main point. It can be a mental note or it can be a written note. If it's a written note, hopefully your writing is better than you, but that doesn't matter, right? Don't shy away from taking written notes. A lot of students benefit from that, especially if you're facing problems with comprehension. Okay, take written notes. It will help you to maintain the flow of the passage. All right. Okay, I'll answer one question and then I'll move to the next article. How to speed up our reading. Okay, Aishwarya, this is what I was talking about in the beginning. You can't force speed. What you need to do is you need to read consistently and you need to read effectively. Then your speed goes up in the background. And I'll tell you what, think about it. See, if you keep focusing on the main idea and you don't get stuck on words and sentences, your speed naturally goes up, isn't it? Think about that. You're not fixating on each and every word. You're not attempting to understand each and every word. You're focusing on the main idea. So obviously you start saving time, right? Now, again, you read each and every word. Now, the question that some of you might ask me is, what if there is a question on a specific detail of the passage? If there is a question on the specific detail of the passage, come back to that specific portion, reread it, answer the question. Vaibhav, it's absolutely fine to do that. When you're solving questions and the question talks about a specific part of the passage, if you've read effectively, you'll have a mental map of the passage. You'll know where that information is. You can quickly go to that point, reread that specific portion, answer the question. It's absolutely fine. It's a myth to say that, oh, don't come back to the RC when you're solving questions. That's absolutely wrong. Okay, focus on the main idea when you're reading the passage. In questions, feel free to come back to specific portions and read it. Okay, I hope that's clear. All right, folks, if you're finding this useful, hit the like button. I always forget to say that. It's a YouTube thing. Okay, I'm not a YouTuber. Okay, nothing against YouTubers. I love YouTubers. Let me not give you a wrong impression, but I'm not a YouTuber. But still, please hit the like button if you're enjoying the session. Feel free to hit the dislike button if you're not enjoying the session. Okay, don't do that. But hit the like button. All right. Okay, let's move on. I'll talk about vocabulary, Tanu, at the end. Okay. Effective reading, Article 2. All right. Nishant is also here. What I'm seeing a lot of my ex-students who have converted all these fantastic colleges, but I'm really liking the fact that you folks are here. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. Great to see familiar names. Okay. Go to effective reading, Article 2. Okay. It's a longer article. Okay. Please read it, finish your reading, and then extract the main idea, send it on chat. Okay. And this time, 2 to 3 sentences at least. All right. It's a more difficult one. It's a longer one, but just focus on the effective reading strategies. You'll get it. Go for it. Folks, the article, if you don't have the link, I'm sure you have. I've sent it before. I've sent it again. Open that and read article 2. Don't read it from the screen. Complete article is in the document. And once you're done, please send me the main idea in 2 to 3 sentences. Okay, so I've gotten one main idea. Keep reading and keep sending my main ideas. I'll comment on those ideas. Thank you, Aishwarya, for sending it. I'll comment on it in a bit. Okay, interesting observation, Abhishek. Abhishek says it seems like the source is from a self-help book. Yeah, you are actually right. I don't know the exact source, but I agree with you. And that's a good way of also boosting your comprehension. Okay. Abhishek say I'll look forward to your main idea when you're done. Okay, so Vishal has sent his main idea. Let me read that. Very nice. Okay, I'll comment on it, Vishal. Let's wait for a couple more. Very nice. Sanskriti has sent her idea. Okay, folks, keep sending your main ideas. In the meantime, let me talk about Nishan Kishore. You see Nishan Kishore on chat, right? So Nishant is one of our students from 2022. His CAT attempt in 21, his VRC was, I think, 16 percentile, if I'm not wrong. That's what he says. And in 22, his percentile went from 16 to 99 in VRC. And I'm not taking credit for this, by the way. Okay, as much as he is saying that, I'm absolutely not taking credit for it. It's his sheer hard work and dedication that has got him here. And now this man has converted, I'm Bangalore. Okay, and he converted Shillong today as well. This is all his hard work, it's all his sincere efforts. But I just want to sort of give you this example that it's possible to do this. There are several examples of people who have miserable VRC scores in their first attempt and then go up to like 95 plus. It's possible. It's possible if you follow the right strategies and work hard. Okay. So yeah, once again, Nishan, congratulations. Folks, feel free to congratulate him. Let me know, folks, if there are more main ideas coming in. Otherwise, I'll start discussing. Is there anyone who needs more time? Okay, Shabduli has sent her main idea as well. Should we start discussing, or does anyone need more time? Let me know. Okay, I'll answer one more question. I'll answer Saksham's question and then we'll start discussing. Just want to ask if there's any need to read and then convert to Hindi for better understanding. No, Saksham, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't convert to Hindi, because what will happen is it will incredibly slow you down. Okay, so it won't help you. I mean, you might feel that, oh, I'm sort of understanding better, but it will slow you down incredibly. And you want to get to a point where you're starting to think in English. And that will only happen if you sort of stick to English consistently. Okay, so don't consciously translate to Hindi. All right, don't do that, because that won't really work. All right, okay, awesome. Let's start reading. So now what I'll do is, fantastic. Anubhav and Susi have sent their main ideas as well. What I'll do is I'll start reading it. I'll discuss it, and then we'll compare it with your main ideas. Okay, all right. Now again, folks, remember reading, first be active and aggressive about it. Okay, second, focus on the main idea and pause after every paragraph. This is actually a past paper RC. Okay, this is actually a past CAT paper reading comprehension. So let's see if you've managed to extract the main idea, well done, you've just solved a CAT RC. Okay, so let's see that. All right, now what does it say? One second. Okay. People form habits which cause nervous strain. Sorry, I'm going to start again. People form habits which cause nervous strain. When these habits have fixed themselves for long enough upon their victims, the nerves give way and severe depression or some other form of nervous prostration is the result. Now, there is a word called as nervous prostration. Now, you might not understand this. Is it important to understand the word to understand this sentence? No. This sentence is fairly manageable. It talks about habits causing nervous strain. And if these habits continue for long, they lead to more serious problems, like severe depression and stuff like that. So again, an example of a word that you don't understand, but you still understand the sentence. Let's continue. If such an illness turns the attention to its cause, and so starts the sufferer toward a radical change from habits which cause nervous strain to habits which bring nervous strength, then the illness can be the beginning of better and permanent health. If, however, there simply is an enforced rest without any intelligent understanding of the trouble, the invalid gets well only to drag out a miserable existence or to get very ill again. What is this part saying? First, we're saying that there are habits which cause nervous strain, nervous problems. If these habits continue for long, it can lead to serious problems. Okay. Now, when this happens, if the person who's suffering thinks about the cause, right? Thinks about the cause of these problems, then the illness can be the beginning of better and permanent health. Because it says, so starts the sufferer toward a radical change from habits which cause nervous strain to nervous strain. So first you understand the cause, and then you try to change your habits. That's what the paragraph is saying. That when you discover that you have a problem like this, first you figure out the cause, and then you change your habits from nervous strain to nervous strength. If you do that, that is the beginning of a better and permanent health. But if you just do a temporary rest it's not going to work because it's going to come back with a vengeance. That's what the paragraph is saying. So what is the main point of this paragraph? Think about it, okay? And I'll try to write this in a better handwriting. But this paragraph says that bad habits cause nervous strain or nervous problems. Okay. Now, if you change them, if you change your habits, then it's fine. But if you look for temporary rest, that's not fine because that's going to come back. You'll feel better for a while, but then it's going to come back with a vengeance. That's the main point of this paragraph. Okay. I hope you agree. Let me know if you agree with the main point of the first paragraph. Now, again, think about this. There were several words here which you might not understand, but you can still extract the main point of this paragraph. Okay, let's continue. All right. Although any nervous suffering is worthwhile if it is the means of teaching us how to avoid nervous strain, it certainly is far preferable to avoid the strain without the extreme pain of a nervous breakdown. Prevention is better than cure. To point out many of these pernicious habits and to suggest a practical remedy for each and all of them is the aim of this book. And for that reason, common examples in various phases of everyday life are used as illustrations. So there the author is talking about his book. Now I want to talk about one thing. What do you think pernicious means? Don't look up the dictionary. Try to understand the word from context. You've understood the context so far. Look at the surrounding words and sentences and tell me, what do you think is pernicious? Anyone? I'll wait. What do you think is pernicious? Think about it. You can even give me the connotation. Okay, what is connotation? The vibe of the word. So if you can't get the meaning, tell me if the word is positive or negative in your opinion. Okay, Ashwarya says conscious. All right. Sanskriti says very bad. All right. Okay, let me get more answers. Come on, folks. Think about it. Anybody else? Okay. Now see, it says to point out many of these pernicious habits and to suggest a practical remedy. If you're suggesting a remedy for a habit, that has to be bad, right? Until now, we have spoken about bad habits. So Sanskriti, you're absolutely correct. Okay, Abhishek, having an harmful effect, absolutely correct. The connotation is definitely negative. Okay, so pernicious means very bad and harmful habits. That's what pernicious means. Okay, so this is how you can understand words from context. And if you can't figure out the meaning, think about the connotation. Connotation is nothing but the vibe of the word, positive or negative or neutral. All right. Okay. So till now, this is what we've discussed. Let's move on. Okay. 1 second. Okay. When there is no organic trouble, there can be no doubt that defects of character, inherited or acquired, are at the root of all nervous illness. We're talking about nervous illness till now, right? Bad habits cause nervous illness. All right. So what this sentence is saying, if there's no organic trouble, defects of character are at the root of all nervous illness, connected with habits. If you have character defects, you'll have bad habits. And hence, it will cause nervous strain. That's what it is. If this can once be generally recognized and acknowledged, especially by the sufferers themselves, we are in a fair way toward eliminating such illness entirely. Okay, let me read this again. If this can once be generally recognized and acknowledged, especially by the sufferers themselves, we are in a fair way toward eliminating such illness entirely. What is this paragraph talking about? This paragraph is talking about character defects leading to nervous illness. Okay, and the importance of recognizing and accepting them. right? That's the main point. Let's continue. The trouble is people suffer from mortification and an unwillingness to look their bad habits in the face. Again, you have an unfamiliar word. Don't get stuck. Okay, you understand unwillingness, that's enough. The trouble is people suffer from an unwillingness to look their bad habits in the face. They don't accept their bad habits. They have not learned that humiliation can be wholesome, sound, and healthy. And so they keep themselves in a mess of a fog because they will not face the shame necessary to get out of it. Denial. They would rather be ill and suffering and believe themselves to have strong characters than to look the weakness of the characters in the face, own up to them like men or women, and come out into open fresh air with healthy nerves, which will gain in strength as they live. What is the main point of this paragraph? Think about it. The main point of this paragraph is the author says people are in denial. They are in denial of their bad habits, and hence they're not able to recover. But rather, the author says if you own up to it and accept it, then you can change them and come out of that suffering. Okay, let's carry on. Any intelligent man or woman who thinks a bit for himself can, sorry, 1 second. Any intelligent man or woman who thinks a bit for himself can see the stupidity of this mistaken choice at a glance, and seeing it will act against it and thus do so much toward bringing light to all nervously prostrated humanity. We can talk about faith cure, Christian Science, mind cure, hypnotism, psychotherapeutics, or any other forms of nerve cure, which at the very best can only give the man a gentle shunt toward the middle of the stream of life. Once assured of the truth, the man must hold himself in the clean wholesomeness of it by actively working for his own strength of character from his own initiative. There can be no other permanent cure. So what are these paragraphs talking about? These paragraphs are again reiterating the point that accept your bad habits, accept your character defects, own up to them, don't be in denial. There are many temporary cures, but if you want a permanent cure, you'll have to own up to them, and then you'll have to start towards improving them. If you do that, then you can come out of that suffering. That can be a permanent cure for your suffering. So what is the permanent cure? It is acceptance. It starts with acceptance and then improving your defects. All right. Now, I know it was a long explanation, but let me give you the main idea of this, and then you can compare it with your main idea. Okay, just give me 1 second. What is this article all about? Think about it. This article says that bad habits or character defects cause nervous illness, problems, or strain. Okay. So this is the problem that has been given in the article. Is there a solution? Absolutely. The solution in the article proposed by the author is come out of your denial and own up. Accept your faults, your defects, and that's the only permanent cure that will help you to come out of this suffering. So if you ask me, there is a problem solution structure in this RC. The problem is bad habits cause nervous illness or character defects. The solution is permanent cure is own up, come out of denial, and accept your mistakes. That will take you to the path of recovery. Do you agree? Do you agree, folks? I know this was a long explanation, but it was required. Is this similar to the main idea that you extracted? Let me comment on a few of them. Okay. Aishwarya says it's about adaptation of habits which require nervous systems to go with it. Okay. So Aishwarya, it's quite broad. You are on the right track, but your main idea is very broad. Okay. You need to have the problem and solution in your main idea for it to be complete. Vishal says it's about corrosive habits and how we can snap out of it fully only through acceptance and will. Very nice, Vishal. Very much on the right track. Okay. Sanskriti says passage is about habits that cause nervous strain on people and how and why people tend to avoid the issue. and what are the consequences. It also states the remedies about it. So Sanskriti, absolutely correct. The only change that I'll make in your main idea is instead of saying it also states the remedy, talk about the remedy in your main idea. Because RC clearly gives you the solution, right? So saying it talks about the solution is not enough. Just give the solution up front. And that completes your main idea. Okay, well done, folks. All right, so I hope you folks were on the same page with your main idea. Okay, so let's do a quick summary of what we've learned today. I have one more article, but I don't think I'll be able to discuss it in the interest of time. Let's do one more summary, and then I'll answer your questions. Okay, just give me 1 second. Okay, now the summary is, see, we focused on 2 effective reading strategies. One is active and aggressive reading. So mind your pose, affirmation, and be very aggressive about comprehension, especially when you're solving CAT passages. Second, and the most important thing is focus on the main idea. Don't get stuck on words. Remember, your job is to extract the main idea. Read each and every word, but don't fixate on them. If you can understand unfamiliar words through context, great. But some words you won't be able to understand, as long as you have a hang on the main idea, you're fine. You don't have to understand each and every word. And at the end of the RC, extract the main idea in your head or take a quick note, then go to questions. That main idea will really help you to answer questions. Okay. And also one thing, this skill of extracting the main idea is extremely important and it will develop over time. So what I would strongly suggest is from tomorrow, whatever you read, try to extract the main idea. Okay, even if it's leisure reading, you're reading an editorial, or you're reading a Bharat's reading list article, or you're reading, let's say, a chapter out of a book. Read that, and after that, talk to yourself. Extract the main idea in your head. The more you do this, the better you'll get at it. Okay, awesome. So, right. So these were the 2 articles that I gave you. I hope you got some, you found the session useful. Again, I'm not ending the session. I'll answer your questions, but a quick reminder, we have a Labor Day sale going on. So if you're a 23 or a 24 aspirant, you can get 6,000 off on full courses. It's valid till 1st May. If you need any kind of counseling about CAT or other exams, call us up on the number on the screen, or you can email us as well. Okay, awesome. Now let me answer your questions. Let's see. Weber was asking in Article 2, was there directly mentioned details? Weber, sorry, what? I didn't get your question. Can you rephrase it? Okay, Sanskriti is asking me, in this RC, the question asked if the remedies were stated or discussed, which option will be correct? If in this RC, question asked if the remedies were stated or discussed. Okay. Yeah, Sanskriti, so the article did discuss remedies, right? It did discuss solution. So what the article said was the permanent cure is acceptance and then working towards recovery. The temporary cure was the Christian cure and all of that. So if your question is, were remedies stated? Yes, they were stated. The permanent cure was stated, and which was acceptance of your bad habits. Okay. All right. Abhishek is asking, it's been 3 months since I've started reading Aeon, and with consistency, I've declined the frequency of regression, but cannot stop it fully. All right. Abhishek, see, regressions, as long as you're not reading the whole RC multiple times, you're good to go. As long as you're not reading the article multiple times, the full article, you're good to go. Some regressions will happen. You know, some sentences are complex. Sometimes a paragraph is complex and we have to reread it again. That is fine. But as long as you're not repeating the entire content multiple times, you're on the right track. Avoid that. We have to avoid reading the same passage multiple times. But certain sentences, certain paragraphs, that's fine. All right. Okay. All right. So yeah, some of you were asking me about vocabulary, right? Let me just quickly talk about that. Now, see, folks, 1 second. Okay. Now, vocabulary, is important for your exam. Now, one thing you have to understand is in CAT, we don't have direct vocabulary questions. So they'll never ask you a question saying, what is the meaning of acrimonious? That won't happen. There are no direct vocabulary questions in CAT. But what you have to remember is other management entrance exams, we call them OMIT, right? So SNAP or IIFT or NMAT, they do have vocabulary questions. CET, CMAT, they do have vocabulary questions. So for those exams, developing a vocabulary is very important. All right. Even for CAT, it's important to develop your vocabulary because the more words you know, the better your comprehension will be. Okay. So of course, we try to understand words through context and all of that. But if you know the word beforehand, obviously your comprehension will go up. So from that sense, it is important to develop vocabulary for CAT as well. Okay. I'll give you 3 methods to develop vocabulary. Okay. One is, sorry, 1 second. The marker keeps disappearing from, okay, here you go. Yeah. One is while you're reading, okay, never pick up the dictionary while you're reading an article, but after you're done reading the article, you can pick up the dictionary and look up the unfamiliar words. Make this a regular practice. Okay. So after you're done reading, pick up 3-4 unfamiliar words, look up the meaning, look up the pronunciation, look up the sentences. Spend some time with the word. Just looking the meaning is not enough. You won't remember it. So meaning, pronunciation, and sentences. And then try to use the word in your real life in the next 24 to 48 hours. Okay. So that is through reading, you can build your vocabulary. Second is apps. There are excellent apps available on your phone. There is an app called as nudge.me. Okay, I have nothing to do with this app, by the way. I use it, my students use it, they find it effective. So that's why I'm suggesting nudge.me is a great app for vocabulary building. There is also Merriam-Webster. Okay, so use any good app. It will keep throwing words at you that will help you to develop your vocabulary on a daily basis. Third is your Norman Lewis. Okay, let me write it down here. There is an excellent book by Norman Lewis. It's called Word Power Made Easy. Okay, it's a fantastic book. You can get that to improve your vocabulary, but remember, it will take quite a bit of effort. It's not an easy book to complete. Okay, so at 2 AM, I'm going to start optional classes with my students where we're going to discuss a couple of chapters every weekend. And, you know, students who manage to complete the book in about 2 months gain a lot out of it. Okay, so Norman Lewis is fantastic. It's called Word Power Made Easy. You can get that book. So reading, apps, and Norman Lewis. Definitely focus on your vocabulary. It will help you in CAT and it will really help you in other exams. Okay, all right. Finally, one more thing that I wanted to tell you was there is another book by Norman Lewis. It's called How to Read Better and Faster. Okay, so it's a fantastic book. Again, if you're facing issues with comprehension and you want to boost your comprehension and speed, this is the best book. This is not speed reading, this is effective reading. Okay, so again, this book is an exercise book. It requires effort. So a lot of students get these books and then it just becomes one of those books on your bookshelf, right, that you don't touch, right? But don't do that. If you're getting this book, then make sure you give it that time every day and finish it. It will do wonders to your comprehension. All right. So these are 2 suggestions. Right. Tamsa is asking you which apps. Okay. So Tamsa, I think I've already answered. Tamsa is also my ex-student. Tamsa knows very well which apps. She's just testing my knowledge. Tamsa is probably in a better position to tell us. Tamsa, why don't you tell us which apps do you use? I'm kidding. Okay. Right. So folks, I hope you found this session useful. Remember the effective reading strategies. Please implement them. It will really help you. Okay. Start extracting the main idea with everything that you read from today. And if you have any questions apart from this, feel free to put them in the comments. Of course, if you're a 2 AM student, I'm here. But if you're not a 2 AM student, put them in the YouTube comments and I will get back to you as soon as possible. All right. Fantastic. Don't forget to hit the like button. All right. Vaibhav, how to deal with double negative questions. All right. So Vaibhav, that of course has to be a topic for another session, right? But double negatives, what you'll have to remember is break down. I can just briefly tell you the strategy right now. Break the question. Okay. So for instance, what I often tell my students is that if there is an except in the question, okay, a lot of questions have except. Let me just take one example here. A lot of CAT questions have except at the end. Okay, so what I tell people is first read the question without except. Don't read except. First read it without except, then bring an except. So similarly for double negatives also, you can break it down and that will help you. Okay, by the way, in CAT 22, we had triple negatives also. Okay, I don't know what's going on. For all you know, in 23, we'll have quadruple negatives. I hope not. But you know what, folks, don't be scared of them. You just have to get used to, if you solve like, let's say 15, 20 questions with these negatives, you'll get used to the structure. Okay, so familiarize yourself with them and break them down. That really helps. Okay, all right. Yeah, Shabduli, word power is a bit tough, but believe me, it's worth it. Okay, if you have to spend 30 minutes a day and you can finish it in 2 months, really, really makes a difference. Okay, so again, see if you can do it, but definitely do apps and supplement your vocab expansion through reading. All right, people. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the session. We'll end the session here. Any questions, put them in comments. I'm more than happy to get back to you, and I'll see you soon in the next live session. All right, thanks, Vaibhav. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Good night, folks.